Hi, and welcome to a brand new devlog. I'd like to start off by saying thank you. For whatever reason I have passed 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I'm not really doing this for the numbers, but I do appreciate every single one of you, so thank you, and let's continue with the video. It's been a while since I made one of these. The last one seems to be in, let's see, June of 2022. So, what happened? The same as usual, moving on to other projects and work getting in the way. Being a full-time game developer, as well as trying to work on your own projects and create content, is very time-consuming. Yeah, look at me with all these excuses. Well, I kind of miss making these devlogs, since preparing for them is less time-consuming than writing tutorials, and for that I need a project to work on in my spare time. Don't worry, the tutorials will still come out every now and then, but I'd like to make some devlogs as well. So, let's look back at Tiny Golf Adventure and see what happened with that project. Well, nothing. I took a short break during the summer, I went to Italy, and when I got back I started a new job. I eventually started converting and simplifying the game to make it into a mobile game. Time passed, and today I'm working on yet another project. You know, you work on a project and before you know it you're working on the next one. So, a few started but unfinished projects later, I'm now working on a top-down roguelite shooter. I'm still not sure if that describes what the game is, or will be, but simply put, that's what it is for now. I will probably work on Tiny Golf Adventure later, but I'm having too much fun writing code for this one right now. Let's have a look at what I've done so far, which, given that I have just started, is not that much. Now, this is what I started with. I wanted, for some reason, to work in 2D, and having no idea how to draw graphics, I decided that it would be a problem for later. I have recently started playing similar titles, and I've just had the best of times doing so. I love the short game loop and quick sessions, which is perfect for when you just want to play for a few minutes. Having really no ideas other than what I wanted the game loop to be like, I just decided to start working with simple geometric shapes. I made all the basics in this environment, from the aiming to the simple enemy AI. One day quite recently I had the idea of trying this out in 3D instead. I'm not an artist, but I know how to make basic shapes in Blender, which I hope will translate into an okay looking prototype. The transition to 3D wasn't all too difficult. I just had to make sure I'm moving on the X and the Z axis instead of X and Y, and change my references from a rigid body 2D component to a regular rigid body. One of the first ideas I had was for the main character to be a wizard or a witch. I just wasn't sure about how to make that happen, so I decided to leave that idea behind and work on a simple weapon that just shoots bullets towards the mouse position. After going through multiple ideas, I was back to my wizard idea. I'm still not entirely sure how to make it work, but it just feels right. I'm still firing projectiles from my weapon object, but I figured that with some effects I could probably use the same methods but make it look like the character is casting magic from a wand instead. So far I have worked on character ideas, weapons, items, waves and the level system with experience points and a few other things. Let's start with the characters. While I don't have any visuals for this, I would like to have a few characters, some of them unlockable, each with their own perks. I might also just go with a single character but with unlockable gear that would alter the base values of the character. As for the weapon, not much has been done. This is mainly because I'm still trying to decide on how the weapon should work. I have a few ideas, but for now you can shoot and it has a cooldown, basically. The weapon has a capacity, for now I'm just using a value of 10, and when it reaches 0, it starts to reload with a cooldown. This works fine for the simple weapon I'm using now, but I'd like for the weapon to be a wand and for the player to cast magic. I've also done some coding for the items. These will alter the stats of the character and the weapon or weapons. An item could boost your HP while decreasing your speed. Another one could decrease your cooldown time while also decreasing the damage value. Balancing the items and coming up with new ones will take a while, I presume. But the basic logic is in place, meaning the code checks for which items your character has gathered and alters the stats accordingly. As for the waves, I'm setting a time limit on which enemies they can spawn during a specific wave. They also have a probability of spawning as seen here. The first one has a chance of 70% to spawn while the second one has 30%. Each enemy will have stats of their own, one might be fast while another one might be more powerful and do more damage. Here's another part that will take time to balance and make sure the gameplay stays challenging but fun. And that's kind of the goal of this project, really. I want the game to be challenging enough for the player to not get bored, but also allow for some progress. What might be difficult and seem impossible at first will get easier once you unlock new gear. I had plans on having some sort of skill tree, a simple one, but I'm now also planning on a spell book. Since I'm still a bit unsure, I might go for a mix of both. something specific for the character that affects the base values such as speed and health, but then something that affects the weapon or the magic such as attack power and the cooldown speed. And I'm still trying to decide how the level system should work. As for now, the character picks up experience points from killed enemies, but nothing really happens. You gain a level, but you don't grow stronger. So, I guess the basic logic is in place, but I have to do some more planning and see how I should reward the player for growing in experience. Oh, and if you for some reason have seen the old devlogs, then yes, I am using the same shader. I really enjoy the cartoon look. Only the slime is animated for now, and I'd like to give a massive thank you to a dear and patient friend of mine for walking me through the steps of taking a simple object in Blender, animating it and importing the object together with the animation in Unity. And I probably don't have to mention this, but no, the graphics are not final. I've also started working on controller support, something I'd like to have in the game from the start. Instead of just rotating the weapon towards the direction and tilting the stick, I'm going with a virtual mouse solution. Hopefully this will save me a lot of headache in the future, but I will probably still clamp it to a radius around the player. And that's basically where I am with this project today. My goal is now to create a simple prototype to test this out, and hopefully enjoy the process enough to make it into an actual game. I will try to prioritize the game functionality, setting the core loop and just putting less focus on the visuals for now. What's important for me is that the game feels great to play. Now, this has just been a brief introduction to the new, unnamed project I'm currently working on. Future devlogs will probably cover more specific problems, solutions and new functionality. Any feedback is much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.